All right. Hello and welcome to SlotHead Crew, which is bigger than ever. And more importantly, it's complete now with Nico actually calling in from his vacation. So welcome back into the stream, Nico. It's good to have you there. And of course, our two guests of honor. We have Warren and we have Joe. This is
What's
so
happening?
exciting. I'm really excited about this. Really
Hi,
good
I'm
to-
Welcome, guys.
And I'm Warren.
And
My
welcome
name's
to-
Anders.
Yeah. Welcome to everybody in the chat. We got Slightly Mad here, of course. We got Slot Car Dad, PNW. Bo is here, and I saw HSF is here. That's all. Looks like we have a lively chat. Well,
Awesome.
SPB is here.
oh, there,
Yeah,
yeah, there we
SPB.
go. Yeah, SPB, there we go. He's doing some really fun, interesting videos, though. But
Yeah. Hi, Bo.
that's not really high level. But first of all, for our American friends, happy 4th of July, Independence Day, which is, I guess, are you in Canada? Are you independent from the UK now, totally, or you still have some?
They're
No,
still
we're
tied.
How are
No,
we still tied?
my money says no because they've got the royal family on it.
That's
It's
okay.
still there. Okay,
That's just
okay.
history.
Well. Well, anyway, I put the special background with some American colors in the background for
Yeah. Happy
our
4th of
American
July.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th
Yeah.
of July.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, no,
a lot of
SPB. SPB has been putting out some really cool videos. Clearly, he's starting a new channel, and it's all about his cars running around this track, and he's got the lighting figured out. It's really fun to watch his progression. Also, it's a fun hobby,
horror
right?
movie, horror movie themed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I like that. Just like Massimo and other people who do themed. It's not always about technical stuff, right? I like seeing.
Yeah.
And me personally, I like seeing like just fun stuff.
Exactly. I think a mixture works well for me. I mean, I like the fun stuff, like with what Massimo is doing and SPB, but I also like the technical parts because I'm still learning. So, I just thought of one fun thing. I was going through, as I was doing research on you, Joe, through my channels. I have some pictures with you and a goat that you need to explain later. But besides that,
And that's why my internet was going off. You're being attacked. I'm like, who's taking my information?
yeah, no. The fun thing as well, you have your series behind the slot,
Yes. Yes.
right? Or beyond the slot,
Beyond the slot, yeah.
sorry. And about a year ago, you interviewed a guy called Nico.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And you asked him a whole bunch of questions, and it's kind of interesting that a year later now you are the interviewee. And I think now it's mine and Nico's turn exactly.
Oh, wonderful.
And the questions you asked in that episode, and if you guys in the chat or in the viewers, if you have not seen this, go ahead and take a look at that on Carrera's channel. It's a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. Not only, I mean, I already knew that Nico knows a lot and he has a lot of competence, but I underestimated it. There's a lot more in that brain that we need to pick into in the future episodes. So, but I need to start with congratulating both of you and, of course, Armando, who was also part of the team. Really, congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
That's it.
Absolutely. Well done, guys.
Thank you.
And
Thank
maybe
you.
we should also give a little introduction for those who don't know about Warren. I'll do Warren now
Uh-oh.
because you did Joe.
Okay. As long as it doesn't go to a roast.
Warren
Not a roast, right?
Well, no, I mean we're all part of the Bald
you would have
Club, right?
preferred Anders.
We're all part of
Oh,
the
yeah.
Bald Club. All right, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
Third one out. I still have hair.
He's the strange one. He's got hair, you know. No, just kidding. Warren for those who don't know, would be my dealer of choice when it comes to slot cars. The only problem is he's just a few thousand kilometers away, which makes it quite difficult. Besides being a dealer, he's got, of course, his own shop, so not online, only online. He's a collector to the bone of Carrera cars. Do I get that right?
Yeah, slot cars. I haven't
Slot cars.
met a slot car I don't like. There's it's wide and
Okay.
varied. Yeah, like
So, yes.
Yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
I've seen some of the cars that you've shown on your channel when you get hold of some really interesting rare Carrera cars, and you don't share all of them, especially not the ones that you already have a buyer on, which I think it would be good fun to see, even if they're sold. It's always interesting to see what's out there, and there's some rare cars that.
Absolutely. There's their catalog is so big to begin with. I mean, they've been in business 60 years, right? So, but the digital stuff is what everybody wants to get these days. So, starting around 2008, the last gens before they had the sliding magnet, so that you can just you can go evolution or digital. But some of my favorite cars are the 917s, and that's what I was always attracted to. When I first started, I had fly cars. I had scale electric track and fly cars, and then I got SEX track, and then it was just with flies. And I didn't start digital till 2020, till COVID. And actually, I didn't even know about Carrera, because every time I was in the hobby, because I used to fly planes, boats, cars. I used to do the RC cars, the Trinity T specs back in the 2000s, and lossy buggies and all of that. So I don't know why I didn't even know about Carrera. My shops and the shops in Detroit where I used to go and buy a lot of my stuff didn't have it. They had Fly, they had Scale Electric. They had Nico and SEX. They didn't. There was no Carrera.
But you, Joe, you started with Carrera, didn't you?
I mean,
your
in
first
this hobby 3 years.
Carrera,
3 years ago. I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, no, it was just Carrera. It was a birthday gift from Jen. And I didn't look back. I mean, I went into, my cousins were getting into RC, and I had an RC car, and I went into a shop, and I looked at the price of the RC car, and then I looked at the price of the slot car, and I'm like, this is really cool. And then that was it. I just started from there, right? So Carrera, I'm definitely a Carrera fanboy, and I still am today.
Yeah. I like Carrera as well, both the track and with its features, the digital tracks features, and the cars. Even though, I mean, they're not always the fastest, but if you do a kind of a Can-Am or IROC type of race where everybody you're racing are driving similar type of Carrera cars, it's a lot of fun.
And they're the most resilient cars.
They
really
can take
a lot of
That's what I wanted to.
Just keep running.
Yeah.
I just fixed Jen's car. Actually,
Very
it's
hard to break.
Jen's car for like the 6th time. We've got a crack in the bumper. We've got these back pieces have all fallen off. Luckily, we found them. I just fixed that. I've got in my there's a crack in the middle here. Carrera cars are really accepting to super glue. They really, really like super glue. So it works. It just works.
And we're getting even more people now. We got Greg. Who else do we got? Greg popped in. Clearwater. Yeah, a lot of people in the chat. But what other hobbies are you doing, Joe? I've seen a drum kit in some videos. Do you play drums?
Yeah. So originally, my drumming has now become more of a hobby. I was more of a more serious musician back in the day. I went to school for music, and then realized real quick that unless I wanted to become a teacher, there's no future unless you're I had a band. He toured. I did a few albums with him, and then I fell into sound engineering. sound recording engineering, and that's what I got my degree in. And I made a lot of great friends, met a lot of great producers. I'm credited on a nominee for the Junos, which is one of my better of achievements. I worked on a project for that. That project didn't win because it was The Weeknd. You guys know the rapper The Weeknd or the artist The Weeknd. So he was in that nomination. So as Canadian, it was kind of there was no way we were winning that. But anyways,
you lost to The Weeknd.
I lost to The Weeknd.
That's pretty okay. That's
a massive achievement, man.
Yeah, exactly. To lose to The Weeknd. And no, that's it. So I've had my stint. I mean, I'm sitting in front of my studio, which is now full of slot cars, and drumming was my second passion. I've always played the drums, and that had to take kind of a backseat. I wasn't even expecting to be able to set them up once Jen and I bought the new house. I kind of had that in my head, like this is my old life, but I was fortunate enough to still put that up. As far as hobbies go, I mean, I have an RC car, but I wouldn't say I'm a hobbyist in the RC car. It's more of like for fun. I'm big into hunting. I have a hunting dog. This year we've been having a little bit more less time to actually go training just because work's been more demanding. But Jen and I both hunt. We hunt with the dog. It's become our new passion. It's not really a hobby. It's kind of like the secondary. If I'm not doing slot cars, I'm doing hunting. So it's just what.
But you're not hunting dogs, right?
No, birds. No, he's a hunting dog. He's my hunting dog. We do waterfowl and upland bird and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
So that's
look at that. Ripple joined in. So now my next question is going to be a little bit sensitive now.
You're under surveillance now, Joe.
Well, what else is new?
Yeah, what else is new? What's your answer?
How many cars do you have?
12.
Are you asking Warren or Joe?
No. Warren is going to be way too many, but
I can't count inventory because that's different. But I have my own collection. I'll tell you what, I used to collect Hot Wheels and diecast, like Maestro, the UT models, 118, 124, 112, 110, and there I have a substantial collection, but it kept me out of trouble because that's where all my money went back in the days. So there could have been worse things I could have spent my money on, and I spent it on automobilia. So I love cars. I love scale cars. I used to build models when I was younger. So it's always been a passion, and then it's like I'd like to get back into the modeling and building cars or doing white kits, do some more paint. We lost Anders. Are you guys still there?
We lost Anders now.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's had it. No,
he's like, oh
no. I'll just continue his questions. I know, Warren, that you have other hobbies as well, like RC sailing, is that right?
Yes.
RC planes, if I remember that right. And there was a third thing I can't remember, but sailing and wings.
Yes. Yeah. The planes I still fly. I used to belong to a local club. COVID kind of messed that up, and then the same with sailing. I haven't sailed in probably 2 years, but I was sailing at a competitive level. I went to nationals, internationals, all the regionals, and I used to sail with the guys in Detroit. And so I'd cross the border twice a week. I'd sail on Tuesday nights. We used to sail Soling 1 meter, which is like an Olympic class, but a scale model of the Soling, and then 10s. Which a Marblehead, which is a bigger boat, which is a 1.6 meter mast, up to 30 pounds ballast in them, and then all kinds of different hulls. You could build your hulls out of balsa or polycarbonate. You could buy polycarbonate hulls, and then Kevlar and everything else came into it. So it was more of a development class, racing class. The other one that I raced was US 1. I do. Was US 1 meters, which were again a developmental class.
The IOM.
Yeah,
Is that
IOM
the
as
IOM
well.
class? What's now
There's
the IOM?
IOM
Yeah.
is no, that they have no carbon fiber, no Kevlar, and they try to keep that as um, there's more rigid rules for them, but it is a 1 meter class. Yeah, IOM's are big in Europe
Okay.
and
Okay.
in the States.
Oh yes, that's how I know them. Yeah.
Yeah. They sail in Italy. I think
I've got an IOM, for example. Yeah, I've got an IOM and I've got a laser, an RC
right.
laser as well,
Yeah,
because I used to have a real laser. So yeah.
nice.
Oh, cool.
But
And
let's
then
get
there's
back into slot cars. Sorry,
there was RG and then RG.
didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah, my then RG65s. I sailed those, and I was like
Exactly. Yeah.
one of the first adapters. My boat comes from Holland. My boat won the Europeans. My
Ooh,
RG65, yeah, it belonged
okay.
to
Yeah,
Peter
yeah, yeah.
Volker. So, and I still have that boat, and I won the Canadians with it. So it, it was a fast boat.
Okay. Sounds like a fast boat.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think Anders wanted to know a little more about the race itself. So Anders, as you're back again.
Yeah, well, also I'm still curious about Joe. I want to put Joe a little bit in the hot seat. He's been on the other side of the camera for so long, and I want to put him a little bit more in the hot seat, and so that he understands how it is for all the people that get interviewed by him. What's your favorite car or brand?
Slot car wise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're talking about it's SlotHead Crew.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly. Otherwise, it would be Subaru or something like that. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not on my desk. So to go to your previous question, I just counted on my desk and what I can reach. There's 23 cars just here. But believe it or not, my collection has not passed 100 cars yet. So I have to maybe do a recount. I think I might have just broken that bubble this weekend because there's a few cars coming. But my favorite car, honestly, is the Ferrari 488 in the Hubo livery with the flag.
Oh, that's a beauty.
That car I actually bought when I was trying to make that decision of going into slot cars. I bought it off the shelf anyway. I said, I don't care. This model, my eyes lit up and I was like, this car just looks beautiful with the gold mags and everything. I'm like, I just have to own it. I don't care if I ever get into slot cars or not. I just want to own this model.
Is that a Carrera car?
It was a Carrera car, yes.
It's a Carrera car. Okay.
You know, I think every manufacturer has its merits. Right now, after doing the NSR, racing with the NSRs, and with the announcement that they're going to come out with the Carrera digital chip, you know, Carrera and NSR now are going to go up and down for me because, you know, the more, if I can do digital racing off the shelf and do a different class now, not just Carrera cars, I think that's going to bring the enjoyment, just, you know, opens it up really. So, yeah. I mean, if I can
choose, are really nice.
Oh,
really nice.
So if I can't choose Carrera, because everyone's like, yeah, everyone Carrera, then it would be NSR. I think right now NSR is my top, one of my favorite runners.
So what experience did you have with racing before this event? I mean, I'm not counting the home racing with Jen, but did you have any other racing experience before this big one?
I think the only real experience I had, besides being on Warren's track and Raul's track and Massimo's track for Carrera, the only real club experience I had was when I went to Scale Racing Toronto and raced on Ernie's track. He's got a big poly car. Warren, how long is that? A 20-footer? It's 20 feet by.
It's big, yeah.
It's pretty massive, and that's a poly car track. And I bought 2 cars off him. That these are the cars I will race at Ernie's. They're tuned for Ernie, only because Ernie tuned them for me, which was kind of funny. I did all this work and he opened up the car and he's like, no, that's not good. And he started ripping up everything. He's like, here, now you race it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And that's the only real practice I ever had before going into this event at all, like experience.
Yeah, because for me, that sounds kind of encouraging, at least for me, but I hope also for others to actually dare to take that step and do it. And now you were fortunate to have a good captain for the team.
No, Warren has been fantastic from day one. and
Yeah,
honestly, I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and to touch on that, like I was really nervous because I'm like, you know what, I'm have zero expectations. Like I'm just gonna go win. I'm gonna race. I don't expect to win or even place or whatever. I'm gonna try to be my best for my teammates, because I know that Massimo at the time we assumed that Massimo was coming in. Hey Ron, and so I know Massimo's an excellent driver. He's competing in Toronto. I know Warren is a good driver. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do the best I can. But as soon as the familiarities of the I can't speak.
the familiar ability.
Yeah, the
Familiar ability.
Yeah,
Familiar ability.
I'm sure that's a word.
Yeah, it is now.
Joeism.
We'll try that after 5 tequilas.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Once, I mean, honestly, to any home racer now, anybody who is used to a Carrera digital system, who has ever raced, even with ghost cars, if you can handle 6 cars on a track, now you've got 6 cars plus open space. It was really easy to zone in and to really crunch down. And that was the one of the experiences is that don't be intimidated, because it's like racing at home. You're just not racing at home, but the track is the same.
And I think that's a very, very good message, because I'm exactly right there where I'm feeling what you are describing. I got my home track. Yeah, I race, and I can have, maybe we are 4 friends, and then we have 1 or 2 ghost cars, and that's all okay. But taking that step has always been kind of, I don't know. But now with your entrance to this event, and not only participating but also actually winning, it's really encouraging to dare to take that. And then we just need to find our own little Warrens around the world.
Well, going in like Joe said, we didn't have any expectations, but we just wanted to keep the car in the slot, and we weren't going to race the other guys. We weren't racing them. We were just racing the track, race the race, drive and keep it in the slot, and keep putting mileage on, and then watching the fuel. And we found a sweet spot where we could nail our pit stops, and then we just try to hit those on a regular basis. And then it was the car ran fantastically. We really got it dialed in. We practiced with it the night before. We were there till about 11 o'clock, tuning the car, deciding on the chassis, because we had 2 chassis to go with. And Nico's input really helped us with making that decision. I don't know if you remember my message that I sent you probably on the week before, on the weekend, where I was asking you, where are you going?
No. Nico was a big part of this race.
Which chassis we should run. We're running plastic track, and what because you've got that experience, and so I took the thing is that when you know everything, you stop learning, is my philosophy. So I'm open-minded. I want as much input as possible, and I want more, everybody's input, and I wanted everyone to be happy and comfortable with the decisions we were making, and that way we're all on the same page. Like, and Joe he decided on the brakes.
Just for the
So that was and I think that was a critical
just
thing
for the 3 of you.
Yeah, that was because we were originally,
just for the 3 of you, after 20 plus years experience, you're never there. Sorry, Warren.
Yeah.
When you think you figured something out,
right?
Forget about it. You learn. The car tells you a different story every time, and you go like, "Why the hell is he doing it?"
Yeah. Well, there's so many variables, just besides the way that you tune the car. You've got it's hot, it's cold. We had the wind was blowing, the track could be sticky. You could have dust coming in from the outside area because the doors were open. So there's lots of other things that you never know that are outside of your control that could be a factor. And then but we seemed to make the right choices, and it paid off in the end for us.
But we had that experience though, right, Warren? I mean, the one thing where it's not because we had some really great advice.
Mm-hmm.
We put all that advice together, but at the end of the day, it was because we tested it, right?
Yeah.
We tested it on your track, and we were like, why does this car, because that car with the green chassis, with the heavier chassis and all the suggestions, was our second entry car, technically our backup.
Yeah, it was the backup. It was the number 2 car.
And then all of a sudden we tested both, and we both look at each other and we're like, this car's faster, this car's handling better, this car's not. It's like, okay, we made that decision and said, and it happened to be the right decision. So
yeah,
it was because of testing. It wasn't just because, this person said this.
So from the live stream.
Yeah. So
the live stream on Marty of the race, from the coverage, there were two things to me watching the live stream very obvious. One was your car was, from a handling point of view, definitely the most stable car, let's put it that way, in the critical double S's, where many of your opponents failed and just fell off and dropped out. That's one thing. And I think the second thing is your experience and your communication between each other on setting up the car. And then during racing, with the pit stops and the fueling that you need when you race digital, was the big advantage, because you didn't have the fastest car. That was also obvious. You could see that on that long straight. Your car was definitely not the fastest. Whether it was motor or gear or whatever, it was not the fastest, but it was definitely in the corners the car with the best handling.
Yeah.
Compared to the others.
And I remember, watching, being coach for Warren when he was on the podium and talking about not the podium but the riser when he's racing, and I'm watching him come in, and he was drifting every corner, and I'm like, Warren, slow it down. You're testing everything, which was hard to see from the other side, right? And then at one point I'm like, okay, Warren, you're doing good, good pace. And then I'm like, wow, Warren's doing really good, and I'm like, yeah, of course, because he knows what he's doing. So I kind of kept quiet and was like humbled, and I'm like, yeah, I'm new at this. I shouldn't be yelling at Warren and giving him advice, because
no.
But that's how excited I was. I was just like, oh yeah, I did this track, and it was really, as we talk, more and more moments pop into my head that I'm really glad that.
And then I'm not an egomaniac, so I'm not gonna be like, I appreciated that he's supporting me, because sometimes you'll find those dynamics and you find somebody's like, I know better, Don't tell me what to do. I'm going to drive the way I drive.
But it feels like you really had a good team, even though Armando came in a very short notice. You had a really nice team dynamics, and with any sport or any activity, when you have a good team, you can achieve so much, even with less.
There was one
so powerful.
Just one sidetrack. Another I want to share with you guys was hilarious. At one point when I started first communicating with Warren, I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the fuel, and I'm like, Warren, 2 more laps, then you come in. I'm just giving him a warning. But he came in, I don't know if he misunderstood me or I don't know what, and he came in right away. And I was like,
he was afraid.
I'm like, what is this, Ferrari? What were you going, like, what are you, Hamilton? No, I said 2 more laps. And I was just laughing. I'm like, this is hilarious. And it didn't matter. I was like, whatever. It's all good. It was just one of those funny moments. I'm like,
that was the beauty of it. I actually had the butterflies and I had the nerves. There was times where it was like, that was fun. That adrenaline and when we came down from it afterwards, it was like, wow. It's like, shoo. Especially when they were doing the countdown. Oh, it was like the longest 40 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
So how would you prepare
the
car differently, knowing what you know today? What would you do differently with the car?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. No, it worked. What Joe Sully's.
No, I mean, if we're gonna get talk technical, and I think I mentioned it on before, the only thing
all over the map
that I thought was, how can we, because after the head realizing that we weren't the fastest, was okay, how do we become faster without losing our tuning and our kind of our set skills, or our ideals going in. The only thing I think Warren and I didn't really do was we didn't break in the motor. And I think that's so important right before going into a race, because again, we used the backup car as our first car.
Out of the box.
Think, hey, this motor should be run in a little bit more. And I think that would have given us a bit more of an edge because Warren, how you know the timings. We were behind by how many seconds?
In the end, we were. Oh, at the beginning.
No. I mean, what was our fastest time? Where did we place?
Our fastest time, we were 5th fastest,
and we were behind by how many seconds?
It was almost 0.6.
Okay, so half a second.
Half a second.
It's not so bad. So it's not
half
so bad.
a second slower.
And
but maybe that was also the reason.
Yeah,
but maybe that was the reason why you could keep it in the slot and actually win through the race.
Yeah.
If you had a faster car, you might have deslotted more and you might have not won. So
we would have had more velocity at the end, and I think that was working to their detriment because they were able to pass us on the straights, but then the braking was slower at the end of the straight, and that was where that the hairpin was.
See, because I see it as more. I see it as more because in the straights, I wasn't beating anybody. We weren't beating anybody to the punch. So in my head, it was like, well, to add a little bit more speed, I think all we needed, and again, maybe I'm incorrect in thinking this. Instead of changing the gearing and all that stuff, if we just broke in that motor, it would have given us just a little bit more speed, enough that the brake, that it was just giving that edge. And that's the only thing I would do different. Just to answer that question, the only thing personally, I would just be like, take the time, break in the motor, and so it gives you the best performance. Because remember, if it's not broken in as you're driving, it's breaking in for you. Yeah. So it's like,
well,
again, this is just what's going on in my head. It doesn't mean that it's right.
I know Nico has the answer for this one.
Yep.
Can you just read it for me, because I'm looking on my mobile phone and it's so small, and
if you change,
I can't read it.
Yes. So if you change the gearing for speed, what's the impact on braking? And I've been listening just as late as today on the discussion you had where you were comparing with the car and with the gears, right? If you have a 5th gear and coming into a curve or 1st gear. So go ahead, take it away and give him an answer.
Well, it's less braking. So for all of you guys, let me do a comparison. And I know Joe loves my comparisons because he always goes like, now I know what he meant. If you were educated or brought up with manual gear driving, if you go down a hill and you have the 2nd gear in, the car brakes by itself going down, more or less. If you go down a hill with 5th gear in, you just roll. And that's exactly the difference. Shorter gear, more braking, longer gear ratio, less braking, but more speed on the straight. Very simple. I hope
and also when you're hitting the curve,
you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, and also when you come into a curvy section, because all these racetracks will have a curvy section. If you're in 5th gear, you're going to be much slower and you will have less punch coming in and out of the curves with the 5th gear on, versus if you are in the 2nd gear. So gearing does have a big impact.
Less torque. Exactly.
Torque. That's
we had that torque in the turns. I was feathering the throttle, driving it through the corners, and then once we settled down, all of us, I think, settled into a rhythm, and we just drove the car, and you could see we were smooth, and it was nice to watch.
So Warren and I were sharing this controller. This is my daughter's controller, and I brought it to the race. So I just want to show you guys. So when I was throttling, honestly, I don't know about you, Warren, but I was right here.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this is full, which was only on the straights, and then braking. Yeah. And then after that, I was literally right here. That's what I noticed. I love these Frankenstein controllers. They give you so much power right away. And obviously you have to manually, the menu inside, and you can mess with that. But I love the fact that I could just hold it right here like a gas pedal, and that was it. And then it was just up and down, up and down. Like you guys see, it's not a lot.
Yeah,
it was not a lot. I don't know how Warren was doing it, but this is how I was doing it, and it was
just touching it through all the twisty sections and squirts on the straight, and then off brake, or off it was braking, then accelerate through, and then literally like flat out on the straight, and then I'd let off early. Everybody was letting off at the lane change. I was letting off almost right before Marty's table. That was kind of my spot, and I would let the car off there, and then I would go to the inside.
Okay, see that. So you used
I
a
was
different
braking
technique
much
of racing.
earlier than you guys.
Yeah, see, you used a different technique of racing. My break point was as late as possible, and it was right at. I used the switch lane as my guide because I was always taking the outside. You were favoring the inside. I hate the inside. So that's my.
I was confident with the inside and the car's handling. Otherwise, I would have taken the outside. But once I thought I was zoned in, I was like, no, you know what, I can do this, and that's what I did.
And maybe that's something I have to work on, right? Because you see your teammate using it, and I was surprised to hear that on Marty's live when we were talking. I'm like, oh, really? I didn't even notice you were taking the inside because I was so marshalling and whatnot. And that's another thing you take away. Everyone has a different driving style and what they're comfortable with. So I see that as like, well, if Warren is comfortable on the inside, which is difficult for me, now I know what I have to work on, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't, so, but for some, it was just, I was really hitting that apex. I wanted to brake as early as possible because the car was just responding. And once I figured out if I brake here, I end up here, and now I can take that curve. Yes, people were crashing into me. So that was, or I was crashing out. I mean, it happens. But I managed to overtake twice by doing that. And to me, I was happier than, a successful overtake is like, oh my God. Okay. I wish it was on camera.
Well, that's the car. Well, that car setup was critical because that gave me that confidence to do that. And it's that if we were not happy with the setup, I think we would have been tinkering, and it just happened to be, we tinkered to get it there, and that was the, I think, part of the key part of it.
But while you tinkered, I came in and said, no, change that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the car that I spent like 12 hours of lap time running it, we were like, oh no, sorry, you're not going out tonight. Sit on the table. We're going dancing with this one.
So Joe, what would you, let's say you for the next big race like this, what would you practice differently? What would you do on your home track? What kind of, I know you practice like stamina, you practice some getting even times and so forth, but is there anything you would do differently now with the knowledge that you have?
I think at this point, what I would do is I would get the same, I would run the same type of tires, and I would try to be the best I could with the car that we're going to race, because unfortunately we were running, I think it was like really soft short tires, and my track is a silicone track, so the track is very clean with no grip for any rubber or anything like that. So and again, thanks to Warren for being such a great captain. He sent me and Massimo cars to practice with, but he also sent me silicone tires, and I practiced with that, and I think that was to my detriment because it's all great on my track, so the only thing I could really practice was endurance. So put the timer and try to get constant lap times and just endurance without de-slotting. That was the game. Don't de-slot for this long and practice your high visuals. Go around the track. But I
How long were your stints?
20 minutes each.
20 minutes, yeah. So he's practicing and driving 20 minutes, which, I mean, I think for quite a lot of people, it's a long time. I mean, most people, even if you do a 50 lap race, or it's less than 20 minutes, right?
But I think what helps is that Warren's got a longer track. So anybody with a longer track is already, one
length
step ahead.
Does matter.
The fact that Jen and I do a live every Monday, and we're racing for about an hour. Mm-hmm. So yes, there's stops, but that endurance is still there because we do 200 lap races. Mm-hmm. It's a shorter track, so it comes out to the same thing, right? You guys with the long track do shorter.
You're still spending that much time behind, standing there, and going through.
It's not as hard as you think. It's really not as hard as you think, guys. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
You ready for it?
And what really astonished me is the race setup, that they doing a digital race and they're still doing stints where they shut off the power. I mean, this would be one advantage of having a digital race setup, meaning if you want to change drivers, you go to drive into the box, you change drivers, and you go out again. You can do this while fueling or not, but why the hell would you shut off a digital track on an endurance race? Sorry, it didn't make sense to me. So maybe there is some reason behind it, but it just
So
for the timekeeping maybe, but it didn't make any sense at all.
okay, so
It's like Le Mans.
Any,
Le Mans, they
yeah,
just drive, and then you
Yeah.
do it on the fly. And the same with the race in Belgium.
exactly.
They just keep
That's it.
going 24 hours, and then it's up to you to figure it
It
out.
was it was
That's the
a
advantage of the
it was
digital
a
track.
yeah it was a first. So there was a lot of firsts there, right? We're racing on
Okay.
scale auto track on a Carrera. And then we had some teething issues at the beginning with some of the people not receiving the signals properly. And then we were thinking it
Okay.
came down to the brush choice, which was critical again. We went with the factory copper brushes, the wider one. I had the tinned braid on the original car, and we were running it. And here and there on the lane changes, it would just get a little bit of stutter, and that's what some of the other guys were experiencing. And then also when the car was at
Ooh.
full lock, it seemed like they would lose contact with the braid.
So the tin braids would actually create, because I have a couple of cards that stutter right when they go over those.
Yeah.
So I should just switch to copper braids on those.
Just that we went.
okay,
We
so
went.
it's not
Thicker.
it's not the
Thicker,
copper
yeah.
versus the tin. The tin, it's the size and
It's
the
the
thickness,
race.
right?
The tinned is usually the race, and it's a little bit thinner. It's much thinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So-
It's thinner, and it's not as wide.
So what you're
Gotcha.
looking for is 3mm. It's about well, these are not 3mm because they're brushed, but on a clean braid, you want 3mm wide,
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
if you can get the thinner down, the thickness of the braid down one, then there's your advantage because you have less drag. But what you really want racing on Carrera and Scale Auto, and the way I see it is a braid made for 24 scale track, is you want at least 3mm. I'm already on Amazon, and I found the tinned 3mm coil. I think it was like $16 for like 20 feet. I'll have braid for life. So Jen's like, why are you buying all that? I'm like, I need it. It's just one of those.
No questions.
But I want to go
That's
back
good.
to what you were saying, Nico. Well, two things. One, Rerun Racers is in the house. They play second.
Yeah.
Amazing battles with them. They just started their YouTube channel, so guys, please go check them out. They have an amazing track. Go check out Ryan and his gang of misfits. And to go back to Nico, I think what was going on was because we had to rotate. It was actually my suggestion. I said, hey, listen, if you want to do a driver change, why don't you just make the call stop? Because I was thinking of how Ernie does it on his analog track. Because I said, listen, if we all have to bunch up in the pit lane, then the pit lane was not long enough for all 6 of us. And I said, I think you're going to have an issue. It was my suggestion. So if people didn't like that, I'm really, really sorry.
Yeah.
But I just saw a problem if you wanted to change and say, okay, change out, that everybody would be rushing into the pit, and it would just be, I thought that would just be a disaster. The pit lane, in my opinion, was not long enough. So that's maybe a suggestion for next year. So that's all. I mean,
I think we may see some of those.
I've driven 24. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've driven 24-hour digital races, and the way it was done was you had a minimum time for each driver and a maximum time. So the minimum time would be, I don't know, just coming up with any numbers, would be 1 hour, and the maximum time would be 3 hours. So that way, you don't come in all at once.
For a stint, that was the time. That was your time for
Yeah.
driver
No, the
stint.
total
No,
for the whole race.
But it was
total.
the whole race.
The whole race, yeah.
So
but that's 24 hours though. That's,
then you'd need 8 drivers if you only had 3 hours.
That was 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
I was just making up numbers, so don't take me down on the numbers.
Minimum 2 hours,
Okay.
maximum 5 hours. Or,
A minimum and the maximum.
I got you.
Yeah.
So for us, it could have been a minimum of 20, a maximum of 40. So no one would ever be doing a maximum of 2 stints.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I ended up doing a double stinter just because I was in the zone. I was like, I feel like I can do more. So I'm like, let me just keep me in if you guys are okay with that. And we did.
Yeah.
And it just worked because 40 minutes, the time flies. Like you don't. I'm like, oh my god, this is getting a long time. The only thing I realized was you need good shoes,
And
guys. You have to
you're in a
And when you went in, there was a track call for driver change, and then you were going to do the double, but you needed to go to the washroom, and it was like run because somebody was somebody that was having a quick issue or something, and so I was like run.
And it was funny because I met Vince at the washrooms, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "I am so sorry. I'm like, I'm still driving." He's like, "Yeah, no problem." I felt horrible. Someone's trying to say hi to me, and I'm like, "I can't talk to you right now. I'm racing."
Not right now. Gotta go.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, so I'm curious, getting more personal. Oh, sorry, Nico.
all good. Maybe we wanted to ask the same question. You started. Go ahead.
Well, so Joe, you're getting there, and it's time for your first stint. You grab the control. Now it's me.
Mhm.
You're on your own. It's you, the track, the car, the controller. What went through your brain when you just got started the first stint? How describe that feeling?
So, what you guys?
They're gonna hang me if I mess that up.
Well, actually, that's exactly why I wanted to go first, because I said, "Hey, Warren, who do you think should go
Get it.
first?" And he's like, "Let's flip a coin." And I'm like, "Can I go first?" Because in my head, I'm like, if I mess this up, then it's all on you guys to fix it. So I'm gonna be 100% honest. That's what I thought. And so I felt confident. I'm like, okay, it's no problem, because we had some practice time, and that's when my nerves started calming down, being like, okay, this isn't as hard as I thought it was. And then as far as keeping the car under control and whatnot, and then I had a little bit of a panic attack because people were like, "Hey, are we going to have qualifying?" And Oliver was like, "No, it's the order of how the cars are set up." And I'm like, "Oh no, that means we're first." So he put us in pole position, first position, and I'm like, "Oh no, I'm gonna have all these guys right behind me into the first corner." So so I was really that's what I was focused on. So I was just focused on that. So I couldn't think of anything else. So it was nerve-wracking. It was fun.
Did you manage the first corner?
No.
Anders, he doesn't like us. No, just kidding. Did you come out of that first corner, or did you mess it up the first corner? Just asking on the first corner.
Oh, I messed up completely the first corner, and I don't even think it was because of the guys behind me. I think it was the stress making the corner and learning the braking. And I'm like, if I brake too soon, these guys are just gonna pile up. And sure enough, it was just plastic everywhere, and it was fun. And it took about 3-4 laps, and then you're like, okay, I got this.
And then everybody settled down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get settled in.
Yeah, there was a lot of nerves for everybody, I think.
There's one. Of course.
Thanks, Bo. That's hilarious. Sounds like the hunter got hunted. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I'm back.
There seem to be some Wi-Fi issues in Sweden.
I don't. I think it's I placed my router in a bad spot, and I see my cat Lucy every time it breaks, and she's by the router, and I think she's just doing something, and I have to go back and pull in the network cable again, because I got this like 100 megabit fiber, so it should be okay. But when you have
Lucy has to get fed. She's like, I'm hungry.
Well, I've been sitting preparing for this and getting all the stuff, the gadgets working. So yeah, that's probably right. So anyway, I'm sorry.
A mangiare.
Go. The door is open. Go and find your food. So yeah. So do I need to watch the rerun of this, or did you already answer? What went through your head?
So I mean, just to recap, I was just really stressed.
You already
on anything else because we were first. I was like pole position number 1. So my focus was to not crash into the first corner, which I did. So I didn't really have time to think of anything else.
Oh,
that's so cool.
Now I want to pick up one of Anders' questions that I know that he prepared is what did you, both of you, Warren and Joe, what did you take home as an experience or as a how do you say or explain it? What did you take home for your home track or for your track in the shop from the race? where you said this is something I gained?
Well,
This is
I've got a little trophy and the car, and I put it on display there. Joe got the NSR case. It's the race tuning kit, and as the prize, and Armando got the NSR anniversary 10th anniversary Mosler, the black and gold one, and so those were the prizes.
Not physical.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm
Not
getting
physical
to.
prizes.
So I got that, and then
Sorry.
we had the live. We were on Marty's live on Tuesday night, and Tuesday night we usually have a race night. So I pushed it out to Wednesday. So the guys came on Wednesday. Well, what do you know? What do they want to do? They just want to beat me. So now I have a target on my back. Everybody, like, come on, let's go, champion, let's go. We're racing now. We're racing.
You can feel the laser pointer, going like.
Oh yeah. They all wanted to take me down a notch, and they were like, oh, I want to race the champion. Come on, let's go. And we did. We ended up racing a bunch of head-to-head races, but it was fun. It's all in fun. The guys are always good, and that's that experience. Like we race because we race Carrera Digital, but then we race Nomag Revo Slot GT2s. So I've got that experience, and that's a class that we race, and we've been racing it for over a year, and we've got those cars really dialed in that they hook up nicely, and they're super fast. When they crash, it's kind of brutal, and then but after you've crashed a couple times, you're not so worried about the scratches anymore. You're like, because they're pretty cars. You're like,
Especially Revo Slot.
Yeah, and it is like, so sometimes we have major carnage in the. It's the same thing. The end of the straight, everybody piles into it, and the cars bounce off the track and lose wings and mirrors. But so I had that experience, and then now they wanted because when I was testing the car, I was letting some of them drive it, the original test car, and they were like, "We should race these." So maybe it'll end up being a class, NSRs, especially seeing it looks like that's the direction that NSR wants to go with digital, with the digital chip and a digital car. And the Corvette is a fantastic car. I think we're going to see more of them. A lot of guys went back to the McLaren, the 720s, which is a good car because the Mosler wasn't allowed. Mosler is the world champion car, and so I know from the guys at Scale Racing in Toronto, they used to do the Porsches, but then they all went to the 720s, and that's what they were suggesting. They were like, get the McLaren, use the McLaren. And I went with the Corvette, the new Corvette C8. So,
and what about you, Joe? What did you get to take back home to you for the race nights with Jen?
Honestly, more stress, because if Jen won that first race back, I would have never heard the end of it. So that was the thing I was mostly stressed about. And even Marty, kind of, I mentioned that he sees, hey man, congratulations! Now you can go back home to Jen and show her that you're actually a good racer. I'm like, oh man, come on, like.
Lonely at the top, right?
Yeah,
it's so lonely. And no, I mean, I came back with a greater respect for everybody doing racing, everybody who puts the time and mental effort. There's a lot of mental effort that goes in, a lot of time that has to go into the car beforehand. And, we didn't do a lot to that car, and we spent a lot of time on it. And Warren spent a lot of time on it. And then testing it, I felt like we didn't have enough time testing it. There's never enough time testing. And you appreciate
never enough
hobby.
time.
Well, that's it. And it's like you just appreciate the hobby. I felt without trying to sound like egotistical or anything, I felt I went up a notch in the experience of these plastic cars that are so tunable. It's like it's just another level of stock cars. There's no wrong way, to quote a good channel. There's no wrong way to slot car. So if you just enjoy magnet racing on a Carrera track or Scale Electric track, that's great, as long as you're having fun, right? But these cars can do so much more, and there's so much more we can do to them to enjoy it. And I was like, okay, now I can further attack, gear ratios. is something that that's what I'm really focused on. I
Yeah.
want to find the proper gear ratio for my track, and that's the one thing I if I have to focus, that's what I took away.
Yeah.
And now I have a better understanding of because people were saying, oh, I'm using a 1030. Okay, we were using a 927. So if you divide that, we both had a ratio of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Nico was the one who first explained this to me. There's a whole list of it on the Discord. There's a whole cheat sheet. And I'm like, I still didn't understand it. And I'm still trying to figure it out. So the 1030 is giving you higher top end, but not better braking. The 930 is giving you 927. Sorry, it's still giving you a ratio of 3, but you've got more braking, but not as much top end.
More balanced.
I got to see that. I got to see that live on the track in actual practice and in theory. So what I took back was just more experience, really. I mean, it was just okay. Now I can talk a little bit, and maybe people can take me a little bit more seriously. but please don't. But please don't.
They already did.
Yeah, I think they do. And I think also a lot of the banter that you have gotten when you got home. I mean, you only do that to people that you love and respect. So I think there's a lot of love and respect behind all the banter and the pink shirt and the merce and all that. I think it's all from people that you know well, and they all love you. And I think it is part of the fun.
That. Absolutely, yeah. The community.
How could you?
The community is amazing. No, the community is amazing, and everybody that we've met, and even that night with Johnny Hobby, he wanted the title. He's like, "Come on, you guys. All right, on my track, let's go." and again, it was so much fun.
It was bad. I didn't win any races. I won one race.
Yeah,
out of all night, and I'm like, we just came back from and I can't even win one race against Johnny Hobby. Like, I can't.
He spanked us.
Yeah, they did.
But it was his home track. But then Joe, back to the race.
Yeah.
When they were doing the countdown from 40 and downwards, and you finally realized that you guys won. I mean, I want to hear what was the feeling? I mean, when the kind of the emotional release of the pressure that you had, and then not the D-slot, and all of a sudden you hear the race is over, you realize you won.
I wanted to like jump and and hug Joe and Armando, and but
we're men, so we have to keep.
We have to contain ourselves.
Good race. There's
one.
Good race.
I shook the other guys' hands. Yes, the Blue Water guys were right there marshaling on that corner with me. And that was the first thing I did. I shook hands with them, and we were like, "Good race, good race." They stuck in there. They had a hard time. They were having IR sensor issues, and they stayed in it. That's why there was that like you got to hand it to them, because that was frustrating. A lot of times I was next to John on the podium, and he was telling me, I'm like, "Man, you're awesome. You're doing great. To stay in it, I can understand it. It's because I've seen other races where the guys have pulled out and left. And they're like, they're not showing well, and they just leave. And I got to hand it to them that they stuck in there all the way to the end, even though they were having issues with their cars. Offered them our spare car too, and that was the thing. It's like if anybody wanted something, or anybody was having other people were there, and Jim Cunningham was like, "Is everything okay? You guys need?" Jim actually put our tires on our car when at the thing. He put them on.
Yeah, but I think that's also so much fun which I also heard from that race, is that even though it's a competition, there's still the community and helping each other, and we're all there sharing a hobby together, and we're there to have some fun, which I think is awesome, and if you just continue keeping it that way.
Oliver did a fantastic job, because when we got the invite, I told Joe about it. He was he was still setting up the track. He had a practice track at the shop, and he asked, and I went there to pick up inventory, and then I was talking to him. He's like, "You want to race?" And I was like, "Okay." Like, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
He was
like, Warren asked me, "Hey, you want to race in Michigan in 6 weeks?" I'm like, oh man, I don't know. I'm going on vacation. I'll deal with it then. And then come back from vacation like, oh, I only got 2 weeks to practice.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
But yeah,
But I gotta hand it to them because they did. Like he was testing the and he's calling me to because he wasn't familiar with Smart Race. Like he is, but he wasn't like so he's asking me some questions, and then I was helping him where it could with those, and then it was just there was a lot of stuff that goes into behind the scenes that you don't think of to do an event like that, and the organization with the museum. Phil Carpenter and everything that he does, he's like an unsung hero in Michigan because he's always with that race too, because he's setting up an educational program at the Gilmore Museum, and it's fantastic because you want to bring the kids in. You want so anytime they have tours at the Gilmore with schools, they bring them in and they go through, they race, they see the cars. And they look at them and they look at the history of them and how they work, and so there's that whole STEM aspect of it.
and also, I mean, when you're at that museum or any other car museum, you see all these fancy cars that you'll never be able to own or drive. You can drive them, but in a smaller version, right? So you can still have all that, which I think is also part of the fun for me, is to have all these exotic cars and you're driving them, and so. Which is fun, and I see that Joe is getting a lot of good suggestions on merch. You need to get some merch for your channel.
No problem. I'll you know what? I'm okay. We'll talk about that.
Everything salmon.
T-shirt and merch.
Yeah,
it's salmon.
It's a salmon merch.
Was it salmon? Or was it Dusky Rose, Joe? Was it Dusky?
It's a winner kit.
Salmon or Dusky Rose.
Guys, it was light pink. It was a gift from my mother. It was
he went with light pink. Light pink.
It's his lucky T-shirt now.
As well for you, a big moment when you finally realized that the three of you had won the race, right?
So so I think because I think it was Rerun that just mentioned it up in the chat. If you can highlight that comment. What people didn't realize, and I think Marty was in a bit of an interview, is that we lost the braid on the last stint. So there was a million things going through our head. One, we had told Armando, we asked Armando and said, hey, listen, Warren had just got off a stint. I wanted to make it equal for everybody. I didn't want any disqualification. So I made sure that I said, Armando, you have to do the last stint. Like, you have to bring it home for us. And then we lost the braid. Yeah. So I've never done a track call before. I've never done anything. I was kind of like confused, deer in the headlights. Like, what do we do now? And Warren's like, come on, we gotta fix this. So we go to our pit station. We notice the braid is out. I'm like kind of hovering Warren and saying, okay, let him do what he's got to do. But I had to help him. Like, I want to help him with stuff. He's like, okay, I need this tool. And without thinking, I'm opening the box and just like, here, just do what you got to do. Like, unless he asks me for something. And then Armando comes over and says, hey guys, everything okay? I'm like, get back to your post. Like, we're almost done. Like, get back there. And I was just like, I'm really sorry if I like seemed that I was yelling. I was just like so intense. So I could not see the time coming down. I knew we were on the last stint. And so for me, it was even worse because I didn't know how much time we had left. For me, it felt like an eternity. And I'm watching us lose that gap. And Armando was racing Phil Carpenter. I believe that's his name. He's an amazing racer. And he was gaining on us. And we're telling Armando, slow down. It's okay. And he kept on crashing. And I think Warren, the one thing we didn't show on Marty's was the condition of the car at the end of the race. So for me, it was just, again, tunnel vision of I want the time to run out. I was doing the best I could in the pit, helping people out, cleaning the tires for everybody. And that's it. So when when they called time, I actually dropped. I went down for 2 seconds. I was like, okay. Yeah. I got up. I looked around. I clapped. I said, congratulations to everybody. Everyone clapped. Everyone was it was hot. It was hot. People were tired. People were really, really fighting the heat, which was, interesting aspect of the race. So it was definitely I can't believe the race is over, and I can't believe we actually won. So it was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Must be awesome. So much.
Warren,
fun.
I want you to show the
let
back
me
end. Do you have the
see
car
if
with
I
you?
can-
The back end.
Oh yeah, it's on the table. Let me just show you this quickly though. Here I am at the shop sitting, and I cannot get this in here.
Yeah.
With my glasses, I have to put it down on the mat and then try and, you know what I mean? You guys know how that is. You got a lot to get that thing lined up, and I was able to do that in the pit stop. We were able to get that puppy in there. Here, hold on a second.
With me over Warren, like, what do you need? What do you need? I can't. I'm like, it was just, it was just one of those things, and there was a moment.
I wanted to make sure when I did it too to roll the brush, the brushes over, get it through the top, roll over the top, then the toothpick. We pushed a toothpick in it just to get the hole for the wire to go in with the grommet.
Yeah. Very technical tools, guys. Very technical tools.
Yeah.
A 0.2 millimeter toothpick from the restaurant of the night before.
Toothpick.
So.
Yeah.
Unused.
Well, they're great. I
can't guarantee that.
I have them in my bag. I got them. You get them from the dollar store or wherever, but because you can use them for everything. And putting glue, little, dabbing super glue anywhere you need to put it, and right on the spot.
Oh, sorry, dude. I didn't know you had it all mounted.
I had it on the shelf. Yeah. So what Joe's talking about is this whole back bumper came off, and
but the condition of the axles, dude.
Yeah, like it could have gone so badly. Here it is. So this piece stayed behind. This piece broke off, but it was pivoting, and it tore off the back of the car this way. We're lucky that this point didn't gouge the tire, because that could have just tore up the tires. And this is how the car finished. John Erdman pulled it off for us in the pit, but that must have taken a hit at some point in one of the turns. And it was during my interview with Marty that they were saying, "Oh, there's something hanging off the back of your car," and then but Joe just kept on driving, and then when he pitted, John pulled it off. So we were lucky.
It's because I couldn't feel anything. The car wasn't responding differently, so I was like, and then Warren's like, it's tearing up the tire, and I'm like, oh no, I'm an idiot. I'm like, no, and then I pull into the pit, and John happened to be there. Great. I think we're gonna have him on next Saturday morning cartoons, and he's I just see him. He's talking with somebody. He sees my car. He picks it up. He's like, what is this? Rips it out, puts it back on the track. I'm like, thank you. He's like, yeah. He's just talking with. I'm like, okay.
I think the other thing that we had going for us.
But show the axle. Show the axle.
Oh, I put it back in its box already. The other thing we had going for us is we chose red. Red's always 3% faster.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's true. That is true.
Okay, guys, the
Scientifically
axle.
proven.
The axle on that
Yes,
car,
of
and I
course.
think this is why. Armando was having an issue also as well. One, he had everyone attacking him on the last round. I could tell that people were getting a bit more, we'll say, friendly with the bumping. And the back axle, I mean, now this is how a normal axle should be. The back axle was shifting back and forth. It had completely lost its spacer. And we were looking at that car going, how did we finish? Like, how long has this axle been loose?
It was just catching the gear.
Yeah.
The pinion, it was moving, or the pinion and the gear were like just a hair. Like if that race had gone on for any longer distance, I think it would have. It must have been like all the left hand turns we were driving good. It would have been lined up, and then all the right hand turns it would have been out on the outbound side.
Or the fact that it fell off the table. I mean,
Yeah, it took a hit at some point, and it shifted that axle. It came. Well, the wheel must, because the spacer was just popping. There's like 3 millimeters of play in there, which is a lot. No, it's enough because the gear is only what, a millimeter.
Because I just want Armando to know that.
Millimeter and a half.
Yeah, I haven't even texted him about it yet, but I just wanted Armando to know that in case he was becoming less confident in his driving at the end, he's like, guys, I don't know, I was coming off. I don't think it was him. I think it was the fact that none of us realized that back axle was completely off. So we kept on telling him, race your race. It's okay. But he's probably feeling frustrated because he's like, I am. I mean, he goes, I'm not doing anything different, but the car is just not responding. So I just wanted to let him know that it was not his fault at all. Whatever those D slots, he also was being attacked by the guys.
And Todd is joining in as well, saying Happy 4th of July to everybody. There's a lot of talk about pink, and just to let you know, Joe, that here in Sweden, since like the medieval times, the only people that were allowed to wear pink were the noble families. So the nobles were the only ones allowed to wear pink. So yeah, you're in good company there. So yeah,
Thanks,
it's so cool. I mean, do you think there's going to be more digital races in the US? Because I'm just speculating. It's only my own speculations here, but it feels like there's most of the races in the US are analog and on big wooden tracks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think,
or in the Americas.
I hope Oliver continues this. I think this was a great tradition, a great thing to start. I think digital racing has no choice to start coming forward. I mean, I think it's really healthy for the hobby to have both analog and digital have its merits. It's not like one is better than the other. It's completely different.
I totally agree.
Right?
Totally agree.
I love every aspect of both. It's a different mindset. But there's no reason why digital shouldn't be coming more forward. And the fact that NSR is open enough to make their own Carrera digital track, they clearly see something there. They clearly see a market that has not been tapped into yet. I think Oliver said that he was going to continue this, which I really hope so. And the amount of talk, and the word passes me now, but the exposure that this is bringing and the messages I've been getting, people saying, hey, is there going to be a next one? Just like yourself, call Oliver, let him know that you're interested in joining. Let him know that we may have to ask more than six teams. He may have to put different, do a round robin and have 3 or 2 different tracks, and we all just filter down to make this a bigger event, because it's great to have one big track, but it would be almost impossible to do. I mean, I don't know. I'm saying this, but we can figure it out.
Yeah, no, that would be
4 lanes.
fantastic.
Yeah, 4 lanes with digital pieces in between, like
I would love to keep it 2.
The Belgian ones.
I would love to keep it 2 lanes, because that is the OG of home racers tracks, and I feel that we have to respect and keep the home racers happy. I know 4 lanes would be fantastic, but for me, it's like I love this the chaos of 6 cars on 2 lanes with that space. It's coming up to traffic and trying to maneuver traffic.
Just imagine the chaos with 12 cars.
Yeah.
I just want to run with what I know. So no, 2, 6. So it's just
okay.
No,
Nico,
but I mean, it could be anything, right?
Guys, I need to do. I unfortunately, my mobile will be running out of gas. No,
you need to go into the pit lane.
I need to go into the pit lane, not me, my mobile. Unfortunately, so I need to drop out.
All right, Nico.
Guys, it was great talking to you.
You too.
Take care. Yeah. Warren, I'll talk to you next week when I'm back on our special topips.
Yes.
Nico, Joe, keep in contact.
But before you leave, I just want to say on behalf of Warren and I, honestly, your mentorship, and when we were racing, I can't speak for Warren, but for myself, we were definitely thinking about you. There was so much techniques. Yeah. There's a few times I did a few things on the track where I was like, this is what Nico said that he did, so maybe I'm going to try it, and it worked.
You weren't there physically, but you were there in spirit.
Don't tell others.
No, I will not tell anybody.
Yeah.
Thanks, Warren.
Thanks, Warren. Everybody,
thank you,
sending their regards in the chat as well to you, Nico. And I'm so fortunate to actually that I can be part of this SlotHead Crew, and I can pick your brain every Friday. It's going to be. I'm so much looking forward to it, and there's so many topics. I mean, just going through the whole gearing thing that we talked about a little bit earlier, and doing some deep dives in different areas, and
we haven't even started it yet. Yes,
I know. That's the fun part. Yeah, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and you're getting all the tschüss and the schönes Wochenende from Bo, and
thank you guys.
Everybody was happy to see you back in the in the stream.
And yeah, we'll be back, or I'll be back.
Yeah.
I guess
What is it that you
someone
always
in the
say?
US. Yeah, there's more to come.
Yeah, there we go.
Love it.
Cheers,
Love it.
Guys, thanks a lot.
Cheers, Nico.
See ya. See
Thank
ya.
you, Nico.
See ya. Bye.
Have a great weekend. All right.
Bye.
I wonder if I can do this. Look at us.
Oh,
Whoa.
Clean shave.
ooh.
Yeah, so fancy. Yeah, me too. Since like 15 years back.
You said shave and it reminded me of my joke, but I can't tell it.
no, not when we're live, but that was a good one. Yeah. Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, so I'm really fascinated by the race that you guys done, but also the journey that you have done, Joe. Because literally, as I mentioned in the beginning, a year ago, you were interviewing Nico, and you were talking about a lot of these things, and you were like, "Yeah, I got my home track," and here you are now, more experience, and you have a big race behind you, and also a win on top of that. You have, with the help of Warren and Armando, made a great achievement. I think that's just
It was a team
fascinating.
effort. It wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a team
absolutely.
effort.
That's
Yeah.
No, and it's also most probably an extended team effort, because there are other people outside of the three holding the trigger or the controller. But one question I have for you, now that you the journey you have done, you made kind of, I think, fairly early or a while ago, you did a tuning video. Remember that?
Yeah.
So what do you think? How do you tune your cars differently now compared to that video? What extra do you do? You mentioned a little bit about the gearing. You're getting into that, but if you get a new car, what's your basic tuning that you do?
Okay, so this has to be split up a little differently, because there's nothing really that I would do different, for the reason that when you get a Carrera car, there's some basic stuff that I believe should be followed. And it's funny you mentioned that, because there is going to be a follow-up video to that. I'm kind of more leaning on the side of, I think motors, especially Carrera motors, should be broken in. That's one thing I would do differently. Oiling, greasing.
Don't give away all the good stuff from your next video.
No, it's okay.
Video, but
no, this is.
But that's a good feedback, because breaking in is one of those areas. Well, so, some people are just driving and having fun with them and breaking them in as they go. But if you are going to race, I do believe that breaking it in before the race is a good thing, because then your engine is at the top.
Yeah, but even for Carrera home users, right? I mean, it was something we took from driving on Johnny Hobby's track. Something Warren and I kind of looked at each other at one point, and we're like, I think Warren came to me and he's like, "Hey man," he goes, "Do you notice anything about his cars?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're stupid fast." And it doesn't make sense, because my 488s are my slowest runners on my track. And it just goes to show that, yes, Carrera motors might not be the same. You buy two cars the same and the motors are not the same quality. But if you break them in over a longer period of time, they will eventually, or more chances of them actually matching up. So I think it's, as most people say, it's not important, just run them, and that's fine. But if you want to get to that performance quicker, I believe running in that motor, and I don't mean crazy running in and dumping it into oils or anything like that. Like that's really extreme on my end. I'm talking about just simple 2-3 hour tuning.
You say that now.
Yeah, I say that now.
Exactly. Let's see a year from now.
You can't.
Done some engines,
Don't knock it until you tried it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know Warren does it like that. And, so Carrera cars are tuned different from, for example, like my MR slot cars. A lot of the newer cars that I get that are not Carrera, it's more of a setting up to the track to make sure that they run properly. I think the difference is definitely, I've learned that truing the front tires makes a big difference, but not truing for grip, truing to make the edges rounder. So the edge of the tire is round. So you don't have to go out and spend more money in buying like zero grips or something for the front end. So little things you can do to the Carrera car and other cars by just truing the edges, taking an emery board on a truer and just sanding down to round out the edges. Little things like that will bring you more enjoyment on the track. Again, this is because I like to see my timings going down. If you're not interested in that and you just like running the cars, that's fine too. I'm not saying that you have to do this. This is again from my personal experience. So but that has nothing to do with the race. I think this is more stuff that I've come to learn. And you come, and everyone's journey is going to be different. And you'll come to. I've had people now call me and say, "Hey, man, yeah, I pull out my magnets. Thanks for letting me know." I'm like, that's not because of me. That's because of Slot R. You know, he kept on. He's like, "You're going to pull out those magnets. You're going to pull out those magnets." I'm like, "Never." And I'm like, "Magnets are gone. Magnets are flying out of my car." You know.
You know what happened? What happened? I actually the NSR.
Nice.
The latest NSR 911. I actually am running it magless.
Nice.
Okay, how do you like
first
it?
Magless car.
How do you like it?
Well, so right now I've done only a few laps with it, and I'm about 20% slower than it when I had the magnet in. So right now I'm kind of I don't know. But I'm not going to give up. I'm going to continue. It's a different drive, and I think it's the reason why it's slower. It's from two reasons: why I'm not good enough driver of it yet, and two, I probably haven't set it up properly and tuned it in the right way. So once I learn to tune the car better and get to drive it better, I will be closer to the times I had before with magnets. So it's a learning, but that's the fun part with slot car. There's so many rabbit holes and so much to learn that you're never done. There's always something new to learn. And so that's my first. And I've been very.
Warren will tell you this. Warren and I did not believe it until recently. Magless cars will be faster than magnet cars. It will happen. I didn't believe it until I saw it.
So that's we'll
it's weird. It's so weird. It's so weird to say that now, because I was hearing people say that. I'm like, that's impossible. And I'm like, no, it's not.
I might be there a year from now. I might be there. Yeah, no magnets. I've thrown all the magnets up. But there's some cars like the Formula One cars. They have so much downforce in real life that they're running like they have magnets. So those I will probably always keep with magnets so that I kind of simulate.
I think the NASCARs from Carrera or deserve to have the magnets stayed in, and I can't wait for the Toyotas to come out, because I will definitely get an IROC series. And NASCARs were the last on my list, but of course, who likes NASCAR? Jen. So that's why we have NASCAR.
Who's their favorite driver?
I think it's Bubba Wallace. If she's still listening, Bubba Wallace, or the other guy who's cute. She likes all the cute drivers. That's just what's his name? I don't know what she likes in
that. You and I wouldn't know who the cute driver is.
I have no idea. I can't classify a cute driver. I'm like, I can only classify them by who's got the bigger house.
Maybe you can, Joe. With all the band.
Whoever's got the pink shirt, that's the cute one. All right.
Yeah.
So these guys with no lights and no, thick bodies, to do a race with full magnet crashing and into each other, I think these guys are going to be my new favorite for mag racing, because it's going to be chaos. And I think I want to get a sixer. So when people come over and say, "Hey, we're doing NASCAR. These are long. These are thick. Let's crash ready." I don't have to worry about parts breaking because there's no spoiler. I mean, there is, but whatever. Anyways.
Yeah. You could put a light up in the window, in the rear window.
Interested.
For your gas.
Not interested.
No.
Smart Race takes care of the gas. Listen to the.
Just watch the screen.
That's it.
Yeah.
Which I heard also was a problem on the event, right? Some people were not watching it.
I would hope that Carrera listens to the fans and listens to their customers, and I think that there's a massive market for NASCAR here, especially here in North America, but also overseas in the Garage 56 car. They've done the Camaros, but they bring in the NASCAR Mustangs. They're bringing in the GTD, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Or that's the GT3. So that's going to be a fantastic car. But if they, if I think that there's a not big market for that, and again, like you say, for an IROC series.
Well, it's like I don't know. I mean, us North Americans, I can't speak for everybody, but I'm so interested in the liveries that Europe gets that we don't get.
Yeah.
So I don't see why it wouldn't be reversed to be like, hey, we don't have much NASCARs because why is North American getting like? I never understood the marketing in that.
Make the whole catalog available to everybody globally. I mean, it is a global market after all. I mean,
they would sell more cars, right? It should be in their own interest.
Yeah, like when they did the Japanese stuff, there was just the Japanese, and it was Japanese only cars.
Yeah, a lot of Australian cars.
Carrera is an enigma. Carrera is an enigma, and it just seems that they're like, until our sales go down, we're not changing anything. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's kind of the world we live in. So NSR, hey, congratulations, NSR.
You think exactly. If you think if they were looking at just having focus groups amongst people in the hobby, or following some of the groups that we're all in, and that where people talk, you'd see a market for aftermarket tires or improve the tires, or 2, an analog digital switchable control unit. How hard is that going to be for them? I mean, it can't be that difficult these days with a PC board and the way prototyping, rapid prototyping, and the rest of it to get something put together. I know there's vendors out there that are supplying them, and I'd hate to see the small guys go. But the thing is that at the end of the day, for the hobby or for the hobbyists, give us those options, and again, and make it scalable. We should be able to drive 12 cars. Sure, you're not. You're just going to make a bigger track. And then
if you're gonna make a bigger track, you're gonna buy more track pieces from them.
More cars,
more track. Yeah, more cars. Yeah.
It all makes sense to us, but at the end of the day,
it's home clubs. At the end of it, if you're not racing at a shop, you're racing at home, and you're racing with friends and family. And there's so many home clubs, little clubs with everybody out there, that are racing, that just don't go to a regional, or don't go because there isn't one. There's no Carrera digital, and they could really tap into that and make a racing league, make a regionals, go to a national, go to an international. How hard can that be? With the amount of money that they spend on marketing and the rest of it.
How many people in the chat? And I don't mean to take over your live.
No, go ahead.
But how many people in the chat have said at one point or another, oh man, I wish I could just build a shed in the back to make my track bigger, or the next house, it has to have a bigger basement, so
I need a barn.
Room. You know what I mean? I've got Jen saying, oh, look at this house, look at that, that garage has an upstairs, you could put your whole man cave up there, and I'm like,
we need a barn dominium. Jen, we need a barn dominium.
I'm like, we're gonna get some hunting land, and then we're gonna build a shed for slot cars.
Yeah.
I basically remade my living room. My whole living room is my track. There's a small narrow area that you can walk around the track, but the living room is all track now.
Yeah,
they just took over. But that's easy. It's me and my cat, so nobody's gonna complain, except the cat when she's hungry and she knocks out the router.
We know who's boss because the cat's cutting your internet off.
Exactly. Yeah. She's a bitch.
That's dogs. She's a cat.
Yeah, exactly. She's just being herself. Oh, so what? Before we round up, what's on your bench, Joe? Besides the 23 cars, is there anything specific that you're working on?
Okay, so right now I'm really messing with body float. I got some body float screws off of Warren. So this car has no more magnets. It's got the upgraded guide, Slot Invasion. And I messed, and I think the reason why Jen's car did get a little bit more damaged is because the Ghost car was going too fast, and that Ghost car is magneted. So when it crashes, what happened was I think the body float was too much. So the body was sitting on top of the chassis, not on it, so there wasn't the protection. So I think that's what crashed a little bit. So I'm messing with that. I've scaled back the. I don't know if you guys can see that there, but
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm messing with that. I will be installing the Slot Invasion axle kits, and I've come to realize I'll get to that in a second. But that's what I'm kind of working on, because my master project, if I want to call it that, is Jen and I have both Ferrari 296s. and I've ordered some staff wheels.
Mm-hmm.
I've got axle kits that I have kind of Frankenstein together from Ernie's and Warren's. Warren is amazing at finding the perfect parts. I want to do independent front axles. So I want to put everything all in one car and Frankenstein it and see what's going on. But before I do that, I want to get my feet wet and start practicing our these cars. So I think the next upgrade here is going to be the Slot Invasion. And I think those are great. The Slot Invasion kits, one, they really clean up the slop in the axle for the Carrera.
Yeah.
It's the same gearing. You don't have to mess with anything. The kit is not on my desk. Very weird. Oh, it's right here. It's a mess. Right. You can get these off Warren. It comes with everything you need. The tires. It comes with 2 tires. I put the other tires in there. Mags, axle, and the pinion, which is important, I think.
Yeah.
But you don't have to put the pinion, because if you put the pinion, you're going to have to get one of these tools. Pinion press and puller. Again, got this off Warren. I know he said no, but guys, if you're watching now, IRR 10 gets you 10%. He's going to kill me. He said he was taking out that discount, but it's going on again because we won. So
you've been saying this for so many months.
I know. Warren is saying, I'm turning it off. I'm turning it off. I'm like, no, 1 more month.
It
One
is
more
off.
month.
It expired at the end of the last month.
Well, you got to put it on. I said it. I'm sorry. Warren's going to send me the bill. He's like, this is how much you owe me.
IRR 10.
He's the worst. Right. I think we're losing the Australians now. Fox and Wolves have gone, and now UC they're going to bed. I guess they're already ready for tomorrow. It's Saturday for them.
Oh man, they're in the future.
Warren, what do you have on your bench? What are you working on?
Well, I've got a Tesla Cybertruck.
Oh my God, that's so cool!
And it comes with a trailer. It's die cast, and it has the quad. Here's the chassis for it. So I've already removed the plastic gears and everything. And
what's the big round thing in the middle?
It's got lights. Which big thing? Oh, there. It's a speaker.
That's what I thought.
Listen, yeah, it goes. It honks, and it's got lights. Yeah, and then
crazy.
When you open the doors, it's like it's locking and closing, and then when you roll it, it starts up. It's like makes the sound. So it's a die-cast model. I found 132 scale, and so I'm going to try and convert that and make it into a slot car. It has the trailer with it, and it's got the little quad bike too. And you can put the quad bike in the back. Look, there's your. You can.
That is awesome.
You got the lounge in there. So,
Warren, does it give you automatic updates of the stock, of how the stock's doing? Does it say up, down?
I don't know.
Buy now,
I don't know.
now?
No, it doesn't. No.
Clearwater is wondering, does it come with a fire extinguisher?
Yeah, maybe. Speaking of that, I had a chip the other day that just went up.
Yeah.
It was kind of wild. It was shorted.
Because here in Sweden right now, Teslas are dirt cheap because of politics. People don't like Elon, so they've just plunged down and they're selling like nothing. So you can get them really cheap. I was considering buying one and putting like a big slot guide in the front of the car. So because we are remaking it to a slot car, like a big one, and just drive around with a big slot, and maybe you do something that would make it more
slot
like
cars. We've been eco-friendly since day one.
It's an electric slot car, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Besides that, the I've basically cleaned off my bench. I have some of my favorites sitting here. This is one of them. The Fly,
nice.
the 1979 17, and this is the one with the track wear. I like Flies. I've always liked Flies. The old. Can you see a pattern here? Apparently, I'm a Porsche fan.
What's on your jersey or in your shirt?
Yeah, Porsche. RSR. So,
I'm curious about those new advanced slots.
I know. Me too. The fly ones.
No, the Ferrari the advanced slots, because I think and Warren.
Oh, the Avanzat Ferrari. Sorry, I was thinking something. I was thinking of I was off on a different tangent.
It's okay.
What were you thinking of?
No, because you said, we were talking about this, and I think Fly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Fly and Avant Slot are using Scale Auto chassis, or is it just Fly?
Scale Auto and
Fly
are releasing the car, the RSR, that RSR, re-releasing it with the an IROC series with all the colors.
Mm-hmm.
So well, those should be coming soon.
Fantastic.
Night. That's you know. I mean, how many Porsches can you actually have? And then
there's actually a formula for it.
Is there?
There's a mathematical, scientific formula for it.
Okay, that's enough for me. Anders, I like you. No, you just got to stop there, right?
No.
I don't want my wife, and we don't want Jen to find this out either.
Hang on.
No, I want to know.
Listen to this now. Scientifically, you count the number of Porsche cars you have today, plus 1 equals the number of cars that you could have
tomorrow.
So always the number of cars you have plus 1. That's the number of Porsches that you should have.
I like this.
It's always plus 1.
This is math that works.
This is math. It's all science. I mean, I don't know. The number of slot cars that you have is the number of slot cars that you have plus 1.
I can get behind that. That sounds absolutely logical.
I think I honestly have to count them. It's one of those things where I just never, until you asked me today, I was like, I actually don't know how many I have, and I don't think I broke 100. But
well, neither did I, but I have.
I noticed when we first got on the live, I saw behind you, and I wanted to ask you. I'm like, that's a lot more cars than when you started. That's a lot.
Yeah, I know, but it's so much fun. I mean, it's
welcome to the insanity. Welcome.
Yeah.
Not alone.
And you know the fly deal I made. That was 12 cars in one go. So, and also with that, I realized it's 12 different projects because I have to grind the gears because they make so much noise. Some of them are not even turning. Grinding paste and having them run. And once I do that, I even use. I mean, I have right here, toothpaste. For to grind them off, and once you do that, they run much better, much better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of work.
I think the first time I even noticed was I was racing with my dad, and he was down here, and we're just having a good time. And he just stops at one point, and he looks at the track, and he's like, "How much are cars?" I'm like, Canadian, they can be anywhere from $60 to $80. Some higher end, or he's like. He goes, I calculate you have, and I'm not going to say the number. He's like, that means you have this much money on the table of just cars. And I'm like, no.
No.
I'm
like,
and then at that point, I'm like, do I have a
maybe?
Problem? Do I have a problem?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, we do.
Like I went to the computer right away, checked the bank account. Okay, everything's paid. Okay, good. We're not in trouble. I'm like, did I do something wrong? I'm like, I can afford this. Okay, good. Like,
but not eating craft dinner, There's one thing I would need here. I need a Warren over here. We don't have a Warren. Really? Someone who can help you find cars and so forth, because it's really difficult. Because every now and then, Joe, when you get I really want this one car.
You've got a lot. What do they have tariffs between UK and Europe?
Yes. UK since they left. There are tariffs between UK and Europe, so you have that, and then I just learned as well that apparently Canada, Sweden is like the worst. A lot of people are talking about Trump and his tariffs, but I tell you, Sweden, we are the worst in the world. We have so many tariffs. Even Canada. I bought the axle box right from Alex Duncan, and even on that one, I got almost 100% tariffs. And that's the Swedish government doing it for us.
Wow.
Thank you so much. So the Americans, you have no problems at all with and I understand kind of why Trump is going on with his tariff, that it's not really fair. And I'm well, let's see, where is it here? I'm riding a Harley and I'm driving a Jeep, both American made. And so whenever I need spare parts, they come from the US and I have to pay through the nose. I understand if there's you want to protect the wood industry. Well, we put a tariff on Canadian wood because we have our own wood. That makes sense. But a rotor for my Jeep, nobody makes a rotor for my Jeep.
Yeah, you guys really like American cars too in Sweden. There's a big
Good
car
community.
car crazy culture with American older, Mustangs, Camaros, everything, and Jeeps.
Yeah, Chryslers. Yeah, all those Chevrolets. It's massive. It's really big.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that big. So, and I think you guys were the only other place in the world that had left-hand drive R32 Nissans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was so like only like 1,500 or something. So if you wanted a left-hand drive, you had to get it from Sweden.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of interest in cars and a lot of good racing culture as well.
Yeah.
And then slot cars are okay. We have in the southern part and western part of Sweden, we have pretty good big slot car community that are racing like at the NSR 24-hour slot cars for fun. And they also so there are some.
Yeah, I think there was like 3 teams from Sweden. I think at the 24-hour. Yeah,
that's what kind of hurts. I understand in the States, there's a lot of areas that are a high concentration of slot car and then not. But I think Canada is the worst for that because of how just the landmass
vast.
Yeah.
How vast we are. I mean, it's 8 hours, it's 6 hours to get to my next local track. And I've been in contact with some people from Montreal, and they're like, there's no locals. There's no, the one guy, he took it down after C19. So it really affected Montreal a lot. So I have to drive 6 hours to get a decent club track.
Yeah, that's too long. That's too long of a drive.
And even just to get to Warren is another 8. So it's like
try and start a local club. Find out if you get enough racers first, get them together, and then have.
I think I have to do that. I really think I have to do that. But then I have to buy I'll have to buy a sponsorship from you, Warren, and we'll start a light tech slot in Montreal.
Well, I'm trying to build this the same way, and it's like I haven't got enough. I'm still trying to get it, more people in on every night, different leagues, and this fall I'm really going to push for that, to have a different race night on each night from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then and build it that way. But there's so many people. That's the funny thing, is that when I opened this, that I found that just stay at home and they race with their friends, or they don't want to come out. They just and then they order their stuff and that's it.
I mean, there is a way, and if I don't mind, I'm going to mention again to anybody who's interested, because this is, we're starting to get a lot more interest and a lot more. Warren sponsors the GRL, the Slot Car Global Racing League, for those who are unaware. It's basically a starter set. That's all you need. The website is coming up at the end of the month. I know I've been saying that for a while, but summer happened, and I'm the race coordinator for that. And it's a great way to race across the globe with everybody on a same track. There are also things in the pipeline. I cannot talk about them, but there are other things coming that will be able to connect us for the time being as Carrera track drivers together. That's all I can say about that as well. But the GRL,
I heard Johnny Hobby had this Wi-Fi solution where you could race against each other.
I mean, I've spoken about it openly in the beginning, how I wanted to develop a Arduino so that this controller could connect to the Arduino, go through the internet, and you can drive on someone else's track. The delay has been ridiculous. So but that was one of my first, but there's more things coming out for that. So
and I'll put a GRL track up here for when it starts, so then the guys can come in and race their laps. They don't have to do a reset up the track, or they can come practice. I'll set up that week's track. Come race.
So Anders, I expect you to be there.
I'll have the cameras here.
Yeah, I expect you to be there. I know you have more space in your house. You can definitely give up your bedroom.
Yeah, I got one floor up there.
Talk to Lucy.
It's
Talk
totally
to Lucy
empty.
about it.
So I'll set something up there. But yeah, so I think we're getting close to 2 hours now. But it's been so much fun.
This has been
and
fantastic.
a great honor to have both of you on the channel and get to pick your brains and hear about your experiences. I'm totally fascinated about it, and again, big congratulations to all three of you for the win.
Thank you so much.
And I think it's also so much fun to hear about the team spirit that you had and the attitude you had for the race. You know, it was not how should I say it? I mean, sometimes when you look at the spinning pinion or these high level elite drivers, it's so daunting. But you guys, you made it actually achievable for even a newbie like myself. That, well, that's actually something that I could get into. And once you get into it, then you know it's a lot easier. So thank you for giving hope.
I mean, if Warren has anything to say about that, but we appreciate that. That's you know,
thank you.
And that's why
there's no words for that. I mean, we didn't think, you know, Warren was always joking. He's like, let's at least get second. I'm like, Warren, I'm just there to grab.
Not be last.
Let's just not be last. Not be last. And I'm like, okay, that's sort of an attainable goal. And after that first run, you know, we were in fourth, and I'm like, okay, well, it's not last. So
exactly.
You know,
no, I watched the whole thing, and also, I mean, you had a fourth member in your team that we haven't talked about, who's Marty, with his commentating and you know, making the race available for all of us around the world that we can actually watch it. So you know, big credit to Marty for the setting it all up and working through and talking for 3 hours on his own. You know, some people didn't even show up for interviews. I've heard.
He was busy.
Yeah,
I felt bad. Honestly, I felt bad, but I'm like, as soon as I turned over and I saw Warren, I'm like, okay, perfect. Our team is taken care of. I wanted Marty to
next time, Joe. You go first.
I appreciate that. And I feel really bad that I hope Marty doesn't feel that I let him down. I mean,
no, I don't think so. But he did a great job, and I think also part of being there and supporting you guys, it was really fun, and also helping spreading out the race. I mean, more and more people know about the race and what happened, so it's very important. So
guys, please call Oliver. Call him up and say, hey, I want to be part of this. Let him know that people are messaging me and saying, hey, I want to join next year. I'm like, I'm not the coordinator. You have to call Professor Motor and say, hey, we're interested. How do we get in? We're interested. How do we get in? Let him know that there's a buzz. There's a buzz going on. You know, like, please.
And you're going to talk to next week. Who you're interviewing?
John Erdman.
John has a track.
Yeah.
So he's like an hour and a half from me. So
yeah, those guys are supposed to race
up there. Yeah. Johnny's got a track. He's got like his club.
Oh, so he's an hour away from you. Perfect. That's only 9 hours for the next.
For you. Yeah, I'm sorry, Joe.
I'm gonna start buying stocks in Air Canada because I'm gonna have to start flying everywhere.
I live here in Middle Earth.
I think I can remortgage the house to buy a small jet. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh well, and thank you everybody in the chat. It looks like we've had a busy chat. I've tried to highlight some of them, and I even got some offers from Bo in Germany. He's a great guy. He's been helping me out a lot with my newbie questions, and he's like a Nico. He has a lot of experience and knows a lot about. So he's been helping me a lot. And he said also that they have a lot of shops in Germany apparently where they have cars available. So he's going to help me as well find some odd ones. So this was really good fun. And again, thank you for joining in and sharing your experience.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for asking.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity.
Really a lot of fun, and hopefully it's not going to be the last time. Maybe we have one where we take a look at Warren's little collection, because I'm sure there are some gems in there that because that's also part of the fun with the hobby, is looking at cars that are odd, some that are limited edition or not so common, even if you don't own them, but it's like I take this and put it on the track every once in a while, and then
the best part is I raced it against the Golf one. And I'm like, whoa.
There's video coming of footage that I took of Warren's walls and collections of cars. So you guys will be able to see that and call him and, you know, pause the video and be like, circle, I want this one, this one, this one.
Yeah.
And Anders, I'm telling you, Warren is the guy. I'm telling everybody, Warren is the guy. Be careful what you wish for, because it'll show up at your doorstep.
Oh, thank you.
Like,
well, I do still get to travel a little bit, so I'm over on the state side quite often. Maybe I should do a detour.
Yeah, if anywhere near Detroit,
welcome anytime. You let me know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that means I would have 2 Swedes in the house.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got Jen as well. Yeah. So much fun.
Awesome.
Well, so with that, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I wish a great weekend for all our friends in the chat as well. And
thank you.
There's going to be plenty more. You're doing some cartoon tomorrow morning?
No, not this Saturday.
It's a Saturday, next one after. Okay, yeah.
All
right, but there'll be. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of videos for us to watch, and plenty of chats where we can meet again.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, so big, massive congratulations all the way from Sweden to your win. And
thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah, have a great weekend, everybody, and happy 4th.
Yes.